Hi, it's another Friday, and this is the Premier League preview show on Citi TV. My name is Nathan Kwao. Many thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure bringing you this show as we look ahead to another exciting weekend in the Premier League. The games are on Citi 97.3 FM, so this game is an absolutely brilliant accompaniment or to help you prep your eyes or ears for the games that are upon us this weekend. The show is proudly brought to us by BetKing. BetKing's got the best odds. You can visit their website, betking.com.gh. Great betting combos, great ways of cashing out, great ways of winning big on that platform. You can send in your thoughts and comments on 0550 585832 0550 585832. We'll take a very quick break. When we come back, my guests are ready and we will unpack the show and we'll be on that between now and the next hour or so. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. This is the Premier League preview show on Citi TV. Welcome back. This is the Premier League preview show on Citi TV. Let me welcome my guests reprising their roles. They are regulars this season. They've been training well, so I'm putting them in the starting teams a bit more often. Susu Graham and Emmanuel Nubo. Guys, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Great. Emmanuel, you're good?
Yay for football, but for other things.
For other things, all right. Oh, don't worry. The football will keep us company. All right, let's have a look at the fixtures for game week 12. If we have them, the fixtures for game week 12. All right, we'll get to the fixtures in a bit there. But of course, we've got very important games on our menu. The biggest one is happening at Stamford Bridge. It's between Chelsea and Man United. That's over the weekend. But let's start off with a big boy, little boy clash, really, as I like to call it. The team that's at the bottom of the Premier League. Nottingham Forest. I don't think they've won a game this season.
No, they won.
They've won the first game.
They won against West Ham.
They beat West Ham, right?
They beat Villa
okay.
too, right?
So Nottingham Forest, they have only one win to their credit. They take on the almighty Liverpool, who are beginning to feel good now. They beat Man City. They've beaten West Ham. And it should be a good one. That's happening at the Forest ground. Nottingham Forest enjoying a good run in the league. But before we get into that, let's have a look at the fixtures, though, for game week 13, I believe it is. There you have it. Nottingham Forest and Liverpool, Everton and Palace, Man City, Brighton, Chelsea, Man United is on Saturday. On Sunday, there's Wolves, Leicester, Villa, Brentford, Southampton, Arsenal, Leeds, Fulham, Spurs versus Newcastle, and then on Monday night is a game between West Ham and Bournemouth. So we start off with the very first game of the weekend, which is Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool. Emmanuel, last week we were talking about Liverpool and the potential problems they could have facing Man City. Well, it looks like they didn't have any problems on the day.
Well, I mean, it was for the neutrals. It was an enjoyable watch. You could see the tactical battle between the two managers.
All right, just hold on a second. Let me just run our viewers through the numbers on their screen, what they mean. So Nottingham Forest, bottom of the league. They've won only once, 3 draws, 7 losses, a goal difference of -16. While Liverpool are 7th, they've won 4, drawn 4, lost 2, and a goal difference of +10. So
their record is 4-4-2.
4-4-2.
Like what they'll be playing this weekend.
Exactly.
We're playing a 4-4-2 this weekend.
That's a good one. But then it was nice to watch how the two managers. We all know that rivalry between them. It's not. I wouldn't say it's fierce. It's fierce on the pitch sometimes, but there's an admirable respect between them, and it was a joy to watch. For me, I was happy to. I was a bit, if you remember, I didn't know how Klopp would approach it because he has become some form of a tinker man. But then, I mean, he put the right players out there. The players knew that it was do or die. They ran their socks off. Jota had to be stretchered off. I think he's injured
and
for
he's
the
missing
next
the
month
World Cup
or
as a
two.
consequence.
Rather unfortunate. But then, every player on that pitch put in their best. I was happy at least that Fabinho and Thiago were in midfield and it wasn't Henderson. And even with Fabinho, I think last season, a lot of shade is being thrown at Trent and Van Dijk, but if you look at one of the reasons why Liverpool are that exposed, he's the reason. He hasn't been playing that well, and I don't know whether it's his demeanor or something. He just eases past and nobody seems to be pinpointing him. But then again, I like what I'm seeing at Liverpool. Yes, we've all complained that Klopp has been pushing Salah. He's been playing too close to the linesman. In this game against City, he brought him in. He had 3 very, very good chances, which he could have buried before he turned Cancelo and scored there. So it looks like Klopp seems to be doing some right things. Darwin Núñez scores during midweek. He had a good game. I heard he had a knock, but it will be assessed 70% chance that he will play, so that's good. But then again, Liverpool keep losing players, and that's the fear factor now.
Okay.
Because you have Jota injured, and there are some players who are now easing back from injuries. Curtis Jones got some minutes during midweek and all those things. But then if we move to this weekend's game, Nottingham Forest having won, I think, in their last 9 games.
Yeah. They've not won since opening weekend.
They've drawn 3, drawn 6. They are also figuring themselves out. And for me, it's actually a shock that you are playing this poor, but you give your coach a contract extension. And they brought in a lot of players, about 25 or so, thereabouts.
I think it's 24.
24.
Yeah, 24. That's a lot.
That's the whole squad.
Yep.
But then again,
and then some.
But then again, on Nottingham Forest side, I would think they have some experienced campaigners in there. I would rather fill them rather than putting in the players who are. Gibbs White has been playing so many minutes. He wasn't even that terrific at Wolves. I don't see why he's starting for Nottingham Forest.
Play. He went on loan to, was it Sheffield last season, and he was being bought. The 30 million is based on his performance for Sheffield. I don't think we've seen him much for Wolves, but
No,
just
I think
even when he has played, he's not.
Yeah, there has to be some financial inquiry into how much they paid 18 million for Neko Williams. That's robbery. I mean, he's a more Liverpool player.
Liverpool
Yes,
are
but
very
that's
good at
robbery.
selling players. Let's give them that credit.
Jordan Ibe and all those players. So they need to. I don't think they would survive for me. The way they are playing, the way they're shipping goals. I think they are the team with the lowest points collected at home, and that's relegation form
only
right there.
3.
Yes, you are worse than Wolves and you are worse than Leicester. I mean, that's relegation form right there. But for Liverpool, they will need to build up on this. You beat City. Yes, West Ham, it wasn't pretty and all that, but you managed to get a clean sheet. Your keeper saved the penalty. It looks like you are beginning to learn how to close shop and also be a threat up front. If you win, you beat City, you beat West Ham, you lose against Nottingham Forest, then you put more doubts in people's heads. So for Liverpool, I am the last time Nottingham Forest, I think it was 25 years ago or so. You think the form Salah is in now and the way the midfield seems to be clicking, especially Elliott. He was terrific in the Manchester City game. He seems to be finding his feet. Before last season, he got injured. I think in the game against Leeds, he was looking promising and all that. So yes, there's something to work with out there. If Darwin Núñez doesn't play, then that gives you something to worry about. Will he play the lineup he played against Rangers away? That's Carvalho on one side and then Elliott on the other side, and Salah and Firmino through the middle. I think that should do it for Liverpool. I don't think Nottingham Forest have enough in them to stop this Liverpool team, even though they are not at their best yet.
Okay. So I know it doesn't look too pretty for Nottingham Forest, but if they want to survive in this game, what should they do? It looks like they just don't have what it takes to play in this division.
I wouldn't go that far. Like you said, this is if you buy 24 players for the first time, and most of them are now having to learn their coaches. There's a few players who've been there before. They're like 2 or 3. So you're basically teaching the new system to every player, and it's difficult. And I don't think player for player is not a Premier League team. I think player for player, the team is okay. The problem is there's zero cohesion. They are still trying to figure those things out. And you have to build slowly. So what it seems to be right now, they are trying to build the defense, be a bit more solid at the back, and eventually get into the more exciting stuff like scoring goals. But it takes time. And the way this season is, that's what you don't have time. The games are coming thick and fast because of the World Cup coming up. So so if they can maybe stay within 3-4 points of the team that's 17th by the World Cup, and you know a lot of teams will be playing World Cup friendlies. Depending on how many players of theirs go to the World Cup, they can build that system, be working on it, and then by the time they come back, we'll see the real Nottingham Forest. If they are too far away, if it's like 10 points, by, let's say, by the time, and that's what's in a month or two, just a few weeks.
Yeah,
if they are,
World
let's
Cup
say,
it's about 30 days.
If they are about 10 points, 8 points behind, it might be too much because
that's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work to do, considering that even though you have good players, they are not really the highest end of players. They have a few players who play Champions League football recently, but at the end of the day, there's a reason their clubs let them go. So all these things considered, you just have to see where they are in comparison to other teams going into the World Cup. And then after the World Cup, you might see their real face. So I understand, and that's probably why they gave Steve Cooper the new contract. They wanted to show some kind of faith in the players they bought in him. But strangely enough, they sacked the head of recruitment and chief scout. So it's like, what signal are they giving us? But it will be, I don't expect much from Nottingham Forest in the game. But then again, Liverpool have been up and down this season. Luckily for Liverpool, they've not lost too many games. But their performances in a lot of those draws has not been very impressive, and that's where the problem is. Some of those draws should have been wins, and some of those
should have been losses actually.
I mean, on paper,
Okay.
on paper they should have been wins, but like you said, they should have exactly. They were lucky to get away, and when they were beaten, both times they looked like there was no way they were winning those matches. So there's a lot to think about for Liverpool, but I think because of Nottingham Forest's lack of cohesion, they should be able to get, because they are a more solid team. They know what they are doing. They have a clear idea of what they are trying to do. It might not be working, but there's still a plan there that we can see. Nottingham Forest case, we are still not seeing a successful plan. There might be a plan, but it's failing week in, week out.
I think I'll side with Susu on the part of the defense. I think in their last 2 games they've just conceded one, which was a penalty against Wolves. Against Brighton, and we know Brighton, in as much as they may be blunt, they will really come at you. So maybe something seems to be working there, but I don't think it will work.
But I also would say they played against 2 of the bluntest teams in the league. Brighton do create chances, but whether they score is a toss of a coin. One day they are the most clinical, the next day they can't hit a bando. And then Wolves have complained about Wolves time and time again. I don't expect much from Wolves going forward, which is why penalties.
They can't even score a coach as it is. So.
Yes.
Nottingham Forest hosting Liverpool, first game of the weekend. Let's move it on. Let's talk about the team on top of the table. Not Southampton, but they welcome Arsenal. Arsenal are on top of the table. Arsenal are in first position. They've won 9, no draws, 1 loss, goal difference of +14. While Southampton are 14th. They've lost 6, drawn 2, 1, 3, a goal difference of -8. And Arsenal are going to the St. Mary's. It always, when you watch Southampton play, you always find this industry. They are busy, they are running up and down the pitch, but sometimes they just don't have any end product to what they do.
And they don't defend well either. They kept their first clean sheet of the season in midweek. Like in the league, they played, was it Cambridge United in the Carabao Cup and scored them 3-0, but it's Cambridge United. Yeah. You should be winning 3-0. So the defense is a problem. Going forward is a problem. It's a very young team. So again, with young teams, sometimes you have these issues. But Arsenal are a young team, and look at how they are playing. And, so I think Arsenal will they're in such good form. Everything is flowing. Everything is going well. I don't think we need to talk too much about this match because 3-0. Straight.
That's what you believe.
3-0 yeah, straight. There's in fact, maybe I'll get the scoring, but it shouldn't be a game. Really.
Shouldn't be a game.
And right now, Arsenal, I'm saying, look, we've reached about the quarter way through of the season, right? We have to be honest. This is a title challenge. We have to call it what it is. When you are going this ahead, you are pulling away. You've had such a good start, 9 wins out of 10. Exactly. This is a title challenge. We have to be honest. So I know a lot of Arsenal fans don't want to rush.
They're trying to be humble. I don't even know why.
We have to be honest. It's a title challenge. Even if it doesn't go well, it's very impressive considering everything that's happened with Mikel Arteta before. Like I always said, I didn't believe in him at first. They finished 8th twice in a row. I was one of the biggest advocates of sack him. They gave him time, they gave him patience, and he's paying back their patience. So even if they don't win the league this season, they keep pace. They finish 3rd or 4th, even 2nd, whatever the case is. Get into the Champions League is a vindication of their patience. So, and I don't see them dropping out of the Champions League. I think they'll keep their constant unless some very serious injuries happen. So Arsenal, they will meet their targets this season. I think their target is the Champions League. Right, so I think that's clear.
Okay, Emmanuel, Susu says Arsenal clear favourites. For Southampton, we've seen a lot of them this season. Home game against Man United. I remember they beat Chelsea. If they are to get anything from this encounter, how should they approach this game?
It's going to be a tall order for them because Arsenal is a team on fire. They are in form. I don't think they fear anyone. But then for Southampton, I think this defense is not too new. Apart from Bella Kocha, who got injured, I think, in the 2 previous games. I don't know if he'll be back. But then Salisu is there. Perhaps this is his 3rd or so season. Peru was there last season. So then there has to be something wrong. Their middle doesn't look too solid. And that used to be where they could give a bit of protection in there. We've seen Salisu exposed a number of times this season. Okay. Especially even in the Tottenham game where I think he scored an own goal. So he's already scored an own goal this season. He didn't look his pretty best. In the Citi game, yes, he looked impressive and all that, even though they lost. But then there's Prowse hasn't been too impressive this season for me. I think the heights he reached last season, he's gone down this season. And there's something about him that links the defense and the attack because of his technical quality on the ball. He can whip in crosses, he can whip in passes. And that's something they have to develop. They brought in this young guy from Citi. He's look good, but he's young. He's about 18 years or
19,
so.
Romeo Lavia.
So there's a lot of things he will need to learn and all those things. I do think that on the beginning of this was the transfers where Bertrand and Vestergaard left. They didn't adequately replace them.
Okay.
So that has left a bit of a gap, and that's what's happening. At the point, it looked like Southampton were a loss away from sacking Hassan Hutel. But then on the other side, you look at Southampton. What template do they have when they come into the season? They develop players, they sell them, make some money, just stay afloat. So, and he's staying afloat. He's not going to get relegated. So I don't really think that there's anything for them to sack him. But then for Southampton, they will need to start scoring. Yes, they had Broja last season, who was quite good for them. They spent a lot of money on Armstrong. He's hot and cold. He scores one weekend, he scores the next
Armstrong's problem is he there's a striker I'm thinking of. I can't the name quite can't come, but he's the type of guy when he gets the chance in the box, he's very accurate with the shooting. Like I said, he reminds me a bit of Lacazette, but he doesn't have the pace or power to get separation from defenders, to get those opportunities for himself. So when it comes to striking the ball, like his technique, great. But that physicality you need in the Premier League to just get half a yard, to just give you that chance to score, is not there a lot of the time. And that's probably what's limiting his game, because as a finisher, I think he's competent. He can do the job. He's a very good finisher. In the Championship, he was very good. But now that if the game's just a bit faster, it's just that half yard quicker, he just can't get free. And I think that's his problem.
All right.
I mean, Adams too, he's on and off.
Yeah, he's very inconsistent.
I mean, if you are going to be between 10 and 20, you should at least have a pair of strikers who can give you at least 15 or 16 goals. And you have to score at least. There will be games where you'd have to score one and be able to close shop. So they'll have to find that balance. For me, I don't think they should sack the coach. I think he has done quite a good job with the limited funds that have been made available to him. But in this game, if they have to beat Arsenal, they would have to, one, know how to close shop, and two, find a way to score. Maybe a Ward Prowse free kick special or something could save them.
All right, we'll see. We'll see how Southampton will fare. Hopefully they don't concede another 9. In the last few years, they've had a habit of conceding 9 goals to Leicester, to Man United.
I don't think we ever see 2 9s in one season. We've already got our 9 for the season. Liverpool, Bournemouth.
So we won't see one.
I doubt.
All right.
There's Forest in there, so
we've got our 9 for the season. So we're
all right. Let's move on to the game of the weekend happening in West London. Is Chelsea versus Manchester United. This game was supposed to have been played a few weeks ago, but it didn't happen. Chelsea are 4th. They have 6 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses, a goal difference of 5. Man United are 5th. They've won 6, drawn 1, lost 3, and a goal difference of 0. So United have to do it all over again in terms of the goal difference. At least they are on 0, which is a neutral point.
Can I tell you something interesting? Man, you haven't had a positive goal difference since May.
Since May? Yeah. Well, that is staggering. Yeah. That is very, very, very staggering. Interesting.
I think was it Brighton who beat them to push it down?
Yes.
And then since then,
it never came up.
It's never worked. Interesting. Emmanuel, we saw Man United in midweek. They beat Spurs in a performance that surprised everybody. A lot of people did not see Man United performing like that, but they performed very, very well. And now the expectation is that they need to kick on and go to Chelsea. They haven't won at Chelsea since, if memory serves, 2012, 13. Alex Ferguson's last season.
That was the Hernandez goal.
Yes. The very controversial Hernandez one. After that, United, I don't think they've won there.
There was a lingered one in there. I don't know if they won.
No, it was 1-1. Diego Costa pulled even.
Yeah. You beat them last season. That was at Old Trafford.
They drew 1-1.
Was it 1-1?
It was the Ralph Rangnick era, the commotion era.
You know what one thing? The day Jorginho tried to trap the ball.
That was at Stamford Bridge. Yes, that was when Ole had left.
Yes.
And Carrick took charge. So really, United's record in West London against Chelsea has not been good.
I think did they win that game? I'm confused.
No, they didn't.
We'll have to check.
I'm telling you, United didn't win that. Yeah. They considered a Jorginho penalty. I can even tell you how it happened if you want.
But I'm liking United. I hate to say it, but you'd have to admit it when it's right in front of you. I'm liking United. Post the first 2 games, Brentford, Brighton, they've looked like a team who knows their strengths and they are playing according to it. They are not trying anything fancy. I've particularly been impressed with Bruno we all used to complain he's erratic, he doesn't measure his passes and all those things. But you can see now that there's a bit of a calmness about him. Yes, 1 or 2 times he may get over his head, but then he's finding himself at the right places at the right time. And it looks like in Eriksen's absence, yes, Fred, over the weekend, he wasn't that impressive. That was in the Newcastle game where he missed a sitter and all those things. I think he did himself some good in the Spurs game. So for United, I think I like what I'm seeing. Varane and Martinez seems to have formed a good partnership. Malacia had a nod. Now it's sure he's looked solid. Rashford, he's not been too impressive. And Sancho,
I'm surprised you're saying that about Rashford. He's the one been delivering the goals.
yes, but we all know the heights he set for himself when he came into the league. He hasn't lived up to it. Yes, maybe he's recovering from injury and all those things, but you want to see a bit more effort from him. But then Jadon Sancho, I think,
and a bit more nuance.
yes, Jadon Sancho
finishing
he really needs to
against
sit
Spurs.
up. For me,
What do you think is a problem with Jadon Sancho?
I don't know whether the system restricts him, because when he was at Dortmund, he used to want to take on players, get closer to the pole, either assist or try to take
Maybe it's
a shot.
confidence.
Confidence.
It could be that, but then I feel that, yes, I think it's confidence, because there's some form of a fear. He tries to take on players, he approaches them, and then he passes back to Shaw. You have the trickery in you have the pace.
Okay.
You should be exploiting defenders. You should be trying to get them on their backside and try to get. Sometimes I think he plays too close to the touchline. He should be occupying the half space. Try to play some combination 1-2s with Bruno. You have Eriksen is injured now, but Bruno and Eriksen can offer you that. They are ready to accept the ball and give it back to you. They enjoy movement around them. But then for United, I was really impressed with.
Okay.
Yes, I mean Spurs came out there to play negative football. You have Harry Kane and Son, but that's a discussion for another day. So I think they shouldn't change what they are going to do. They are Chelsea. From.
All right, we'll get to Chelsea in a bit there, but this is still the Premier League preview show. We'll take a very quick break. When we come back, we continue the chit-chat about Chelsea's home game against Man United on Saturday. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. This is the Premier League preview show on Citi TV. Susu Graham and Emmanuel Nubo are my wingmen. Now we are discussing the weekend's games. Our focus now is on Chelsea v Man United. And just an update really on the head-to-head that I was saying. So after 2013, the last time United won at Stamford Bridge was at 2020.
Yes.
Maguire scored that day. Maguire and who else?
Martial.
Anthony Martial, I remember. It was a 2-0 win.
Yes.
So between 2013, 7 years, no win.
This one.
You
Not
know.
pretty.
that record is really horrible. But Emmanuel, you are talking about Man United sticking to all the things they've done well.
Yes.
And then you mentioned Jadon Sancho. So the final question on that before I get to Susu's bit. So what should Ten Hag do? Is it attack Chelsea the way they attacked Spurs, or back off and then play on the break?
I think they've had more joy in just containing and countering. They did the same against Liverpool, did the same against Arsenal. United could have gone, against City, it could have gone better if the right personnel were on the pitch. So they did the same against Spurs. The Spurs game, I don't even want to talk about it. But then
they sound disappointed in Spurs' performance.
Very, with the quality of players they have, you don't expect them to have that. But it's Conte, so no surprise there. So for United, of course, we know Graham Potter. He wants to dominate, play the ball, move it all. United will just have to make sure that they keep their shape. Varane and Martinez seem to have a really good partnership. Casemiro seems to have settled well, so then they should just build on that. You have Rashford up there. You have Anthony. And people are saying he's just a one-trick pony and he's just a cross merchant, but he has shown that he can bring others into play. You'd want him to exploit more of that, because Chelsea, if they'll probably set up with a 3-back, so if they push up, there'll be space in behind for you to exploit. They just need to make sure that they find the right passes in the spaces. Should Jadon Sancho play, I think he should be a bit more adventurous. Try to push towards the 18.
Do you think he needs more help from his fullbacks to help him dominate his opposing fullback? I think
the onus is on him, because if you are an attacking player with the skill set that you have, you should be. If there's an overlap or something, it's two things. You can use him as a decoy and drive inside, or get a combination play or something. So you control that situation. But if the person is running towards you, you should make the decision. You should have some form of a chemistry. Okay, you go, I give it to you, or you go and then I come in. But then as I am approaching, you're also passing me the ball. What do I do with it? So I think he will need Ten Hag should take some time and have that coaching for him. Yes, some people you have to have specific time and specific approach for them to get the best out of them. I don't think United coughed out close to £100 million for him to just hold the ball and pass it back to the left back. We know he can be more disastrous.
Okay, so let's turn the story on its head. We see Chelsea under Potter. Some people are asking, when do we start saying Chelsea are playing Potter ball? I don't know what that one is. Your thoughts generally on Chelsea under Potter and what the potential plan could be when they face Man United?
I mean, defensively, things are going very well. It's been, 5-6 clean sheets in a row?
It's out of 7 games.
Yeah, it's going very well. Kepa is suddenly looking like the Kepa that Chelsea thought they were buying all those years ago. Like, everything is going right on the defense. The attacking is a bit off. Once in a while, you are really not sure, but they are getting the results. I mean, I think midweek was 0-0.
Yeah,
they couldn't break the opposition down. It happens sometimes. It happens to even the best of teams. We've seen even prime Barcelona going to games you expect them to win and just couldn't score a goal because it was just one of those days. So it's not too concerning, but the fact that the defense is so tight and it's so difficult to break down is what scares me for Man U, because Man U, we saw them against Newcastle when they played a tight defense that was difficult to break down. They couldn't do it. They really struggled to do it. And now Chelsea have a lot more quality in other areas than Newcastle have. With all due respect to Newcastle, Newcastle are a very good team, but Chelsea are just better. So you really wonder for Man U, how are they going to break down such a difficult defense, such a tight defense, and a team that will try and starve them of the ball? Can Casemiro and whoever he's playing with do that? Because we know Casemiro, he's not Pirlo on the ball. He's solid on the ball. He does the basics right, but he's not Pirlo, like I said. So is he going to play with Christensen? Is he playing with Fred? Is he playing with McTominay? And aside Christensen, I don't see Eriksen. Sorry, I said Christensen. Christian Eriksen. There's not that ball player to complement Casemiro if he's the one who starts. Fred and McTominay are not those guys. They are more dynamic. They are more box-to-box type midfielders. So I'm afraid for them in the midfield battle, because that midfield battle looks very easy for Chelsea to win. And when I look at Man U, they have quality players, but on the break is great, but when you have so many players missing, if you knew you could put Martial up front, yes, Rashford on the left and Anthony on the right, and Bruno Fernandes, he can hit those balls in behind. You are thinking, okay, our counter-attacking threat is great. When it's Sancho and Anthony and Rashford leading the line, I don't think Rashford leading the line is as effective as Martial.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I don't think Sancho is as dynamic with his pace in behind. So I feel like you lose a lot when you don't have that kind of perfect counter-attacking lineup. And now you've also decided that Cristiano Ronaldo is not going to be part of the squad. So you've lost another finisher. So I don't know what Man U will do going forward, because that front line looked a bit blunt against Newcastle. Okay. They got a good chance towards the end. Rashford messed up. But then it looked good against Spurs. But then again, Spurs didn't look good at all. I don't expect Spurs to be as passive. I don't expect Chelsea, to be as passive as Spurs were. So that's where the issue comes in. They got a team that was very passive, very okay with giving them the ball. I don't think Potter will play that way. And Potter is he's at home now. Yeah. He wants to make a statement. He wants to show he's a big-time manager. And big-time managers very rarely sit back at home. Maybe once in a while Mourinho will do it, but big-time managers in general, at home, you have to dominate. You have to get the results. Remember, Mourinho went, 10 years without losing at home. There's a reason for that, because at the highest level, you get your bulk of your points from home. Yes. And you do against the smaller teams away, you get your results, you get your easy wins. And when you're playing the top teams, maybe you're allowed to sit back. Okay. But as Chelsea manager now, he can't say that it's Man United, we are sitting back. He has to go for it. He has to dominate the game. Okay. So it's the onus on Man U to take advantage of the counter-attacking opportunities that will be afforded, because I don't see them winning the possession battle.
Great. Let me read a few messages. So somebody wants your opinion on whether Arsenal are title contenders. I think we've said that Arsenal are title contenders, whether you like it or not. They're on top of the table. You can't be there and say, I don't want to win the league. DJ Zlatan from Adabraka says, well, it's the other way around. Chelsea haven't won against United at the bridge since 2017. United have 2 wins and 3 draws. Yes, I think that's the case. The 2 wins, I'm trying to remember which 2 wins. I remember one in the FA Cup, Herrera and some other player, I can't remember. The league one I do remember. Anyway, the records, United have 2 wins and 3 draws. It looks like their recent record at Stamford Bridge is okay, but I'm sure they will want a few more wins there, and especially at a time like this where they want to break into top 4. So this is that, and thank you so much. More of your messages are welcome on 0550-585832. That is the WhatsApp number. This is the Premier League preview show. Now that we are done with the games, we'll come back and look at the fixtures later. Maybe I'll get a few predictions from my guests. But let's move on to the next part of the show, which is the debate. Welcome. This is the debate on the Premier League preview show, and we are at Stamford Bridge today for our debate. We're asking a very simple question. Who should be Chelsea number one? Mendy or Kepa? Who should be Chelsea number one? Mendy or Kepa? They've had a very interesting start to the season. The two goalkeepers have been competing the last year and a half to 2 years. But these days we are seeing all kinds of interesting things happening at Stamford Bridge. So your take on this? Who should be Chelsea number one?
I think for now, Kepa. I think right now you have two high quality goalkeepers. You know their weaknesses, you know their strengths. So you keep playing them. When one makes a few mistakes, they remove him, bring the other one, keep it going. Then when the other one makes a few mistakes, so I think it works that way, because remember you paid 70 whatever million for Kepa, and you come in, and it's always looked weird on paper that the 16 million goalkeeper was the number one. On paper, it just didn't look right. So it's not too surprising that Kepa has been reinstalled at number one, especially because Mendy's form has not been good. Mendy has made a lot of mistakes this season, and the truth is those mistakes are always going to come. And I've said this many times before, Mendy he's pretty slow on his feet, so his ball playing ability is not great. And if you are Graham Potter and you are very committed to playing the ball, Kepa is the more natural option. But we have also seen Kepa, kind of get into these jams, and a lot of those were confidence related, I feel. Right now, his confidence is much better. Mm-hmm. So he's going to, kind of be better with his feet. But I still believe Mendy is better in terms of claiming crosses, dominating the area, and shot stopping. So you have to ask yourself, is the trade-off worth it? If you are thinking to yourself that, okay, I'm going to have my keeper only have to make saves 3 times in a match, but he's going to have to be playing 20, 30 passes a game, you want the one who's better at your feet, because the passing is the action you're doing more. So it's more about the kind of what you are trying to achieve. If I was Chelsea coach, like if I had to pick a number one and stick with it, not do the baton system, I think the baton system might be the best, because these are two keepers who do make mistakes. If I had to pick a number one, considering what Graham Potter wants to do, Kepa is the most obvious choice. No disrespect to Mendy, because Mendy he's proven himself, and he basically won them the Champions League with his form. So there's no disrespect there, but for what they are trying to do, it's Kepa all the way.
Okay, Emmanuel?
Well, I think for Kepa, if not because of Mendy's injury, I don't think he would have been given a chance. So, in as much as yes, Mendy was a big suspect, he was the best goalkeeper in the world, I think, a year or so ago. So that cannot be taken for granted. Yes, because of how Potter plays, you'd want a keeper who is good with his feet. But at Brighton, he had Sanchez. Sanchez isn't the most terrific keeper with the ball at his feet.
Basically.
Yes, but I mean, I get that part. But then, we all know Kepa. When he's on form, he gets comfortable. That is when the errors come in there. So, as a coach who is building a team and you want some consistency in your lineup, you want your keeper to consistently be playing to gain confidence and all those kind of things. Would you want to be just out there waiting for an error and then to change him? I think you'd have to make a decision. This is my first choice and I'm going with him. Yes, some teams, I think Inter does that. Barca also did that, where they have a keeper for Champions League and the league. I mean, goalkeepers could play as long as 40 years. So no keeper wants to be doing that shop change and all those kind of things. So the coach will have to make a decision. For me, based on the errors I have seen Kepa commit, I think I'll give Mendy a pass. I would put him probably number one.
You don't think Potter should look at what Kepa presents to his team, the ability to pass the ball out of defense, the fact that he can use his feet? And somebody will argue and say he gave Mendy the chance at Leeds. Look at what happened.
Well, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. If you look at the errors Kepa has committed, there's nothing as compared to the errors Mendy has committed. So
committed a high-profile one at Leeds.
Yes, but he also, post-COVID, he just dashed Liverpool 2 goals, if I remember clearly. So that's when Sadio Mane scored. So he will have to make a decision. If maybe because of the style you want to play, you don't want to keep Kepa in there. But if you are keeping him in there just so that when he makes an error, you bring Mendy in there. I don't think that others you well, because then it doesn't fit your style. So you'd have to make a decision. There were rumors that Kepa wanted more P or something of that nature, or he was leaving or something like that. So it's two things. If you stick with him, then you'd have to let Mendy go. But then
you don't believe in this?
For me, no, I don't think it's the best because it doesn't give you enough time to actually build the confidence. It doesn't give you enough time to get minutes under your legs, and you know how keepers are. You are in one day, you are off one day. It changes a lot. It changes a lot of the dynamics and all those kind of things. So if you go with one, and let the other one go.
Okay.
So to say his point about the money and the contracts, he has a point that there might be a kind of nefarious kind of undertone that Mendy wanted to be paid as much as Kepa in his contract negotiation. If you drop him now, what's his reasoning for wanting to be paid as much?
Okay.
Because if you are number 2 now, can you really demand the same money as the number 1? Because it was already problematic that actually he was the number 1 and getting paid less than the number 2. So if you now make Kepa number 1, Mendy has no leg to stand on to demand similar wages to Kepa. So maybe it might even be an accounting thing, but he has used ball playing as an excuse. You never know. I'm not saying that this was happening, but there's also this undertone to Mendy's contract negotiations. You know, there are some red flags. And you know, usually when they leak these kind of wage demands to the media, it's to paint the player in a bad light. It's basically because they don't want to meet the player's demand. So that might even be why he's been dropped. Maybe we are rationalizing
ball
playing kind of thing. There could be a whole kind of
shady reason.
But I just want to respond to your point about Sanchez. I guess Brighton had to play on the back foot for some games. So if you get what I'm saying, though you want to play progressive football most of the time, your keeper not being able to play when you're an underdog team in most situations is not as much of a hindrance. So I don't think the Sanchez example is. But
at the point they had Ryan in post, he's even worse than Mendy.
There's a reason he's been sacked.
But I think Kepa, yes, that. In as much as he's slow on the ball, and sometimes he delays in making a decision. Those things can be coached out of him.
But do we think Kepa has earned his spot currently?
Oh, he's in great form.
Yes, with the last 2 performances he's the reason why Aston Villa didn't get anything in that game, and another reason why it's led to Gerrard being sacked. Odds were on that too. So.
No, I think Gerrard was sacked because when it's the big games, like I always say, they will perform. Right? And Chelsea, they showed this. They were they deserved their point.
They were against City too. When everybody thought they would.
Last season they
play this midweek?
They played
Fulham.
They played Fulham.
They were horrible.
3-0.
They were for the first time in their history in the Premier League, they considered an own goal, penalty,
and a red card
for the first time ever.
Horrible. I think Gerrard is an architect of his own.
But that's my point. The big games, they look good. They are like, this is a coach. Give him more time. Then they go and play the teams they should be competing against, and they just lie down.
But I mean, it's. It's Steven Gerrard handling the team. He was a player who thrived on the occasion. Yes. So you can understand why Villa would pick that character.
Another thing too is that the assistant manager they lost him. He's doing very well at
He's on top of the championship.
So we agree. Kepa, number 1?
I would say Mendy.
You'd say Mendy, but you think Kepa has earned it. So now, Mendy should now earn his return.
Oh no, if you want to go with Kepa, please let Mendy go. That's my take.
Your conclusion,
I want the baton. I want them to really. But I feel like at the very least, respecting Mendy and what he's done as former best keeper in the world, he should be cup keeper if you won't make him number 1. Okay. That's the bare minimum, I feel. If he's not going to be cup keeper, if he's not going to be number 1 in the league, at least those cup competitions, Champions League, he should be playing. Yeah. That's the bare minimum.
Okay, all right. You can continue the debate wherever you are. Kepa fans, the Mendy fans, wherever you continue the debate. We are done with that on the Premier League preview show. Look, the 2 goalkeepers are good, but I'm sure Potter will come to a decision that he feels will make sense to the team and the club and wherever it is they want to go. All right, let's move it on to the final bits of the show. Let's get ready for the FPL Zone. Welcome. This is still the Premier League preview show. Welcome to the FPL Zone. As the Oracle is not around, but in an era where data drives everything, we won't be too worried because we've brought in the man who has numbers, facts, tangible things, and he's a believer in hardcore stats. The professor is in the building. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Great. So what's happening this weekend? People had to do all kinds of maneuvers in midweek to get their teams in shape.
The goal machine was missing in midweek, so a lot of A lot of people were thinking whether to sell him, whether to not. I held because, these things, eventually, over the course of the season, it pays off. That 1 week I missed, it won't cost me in the long run.
All right. So this weekend, what's the juice?
Well, like I said, FPL, what you're looking for is teams that are conceding a lot, and you pick the players they are playing against. So my victims for this weekend are Aston Villa, Southampton, and I can't remember the last one, but I ended up picking Mitrovic, Saka, and Ivan Toney. So can we start with Bukayo Saka?
Okay, so Bukayo Saka, yes, those are his numbers.
So like I said earlier on the show, if you were missing, Southampton kept 1 clean sheet in the league. In fact, they were the last team in the British football pyramid, the football league, the 92 teams in the football league to get a clean sheet. So every team from League 2 to the Premier League had kept a clean sheet, at least one, before this midweek. And Southampton were the last team to join them. So as you can see on paper, the goals will come. And Saka has been the driving force right now. He's kind of taking over the kind of goal scoring and assisting mantle from Gabriel Jesus. And he's also their penalty taker. So if there's some clumsiness in the box, he's the most likely to benefit. Even if he doesn't score, he's likely to maybe play a pass to Martinelli, make something happen. So Arsenal players are the players to kind of focus on. And that's why I picked Bukayo Saka, because he is the main man for Arsenal right now. Other interesting picks, if you don't want to add Saka, someone a bit cheaper, Granit Xhaka. Right now, he's playing more of a number 8 who is in the box more. He's 5 million. You can't guarantee points from him, but because he's an Arsenal player, will be involved in the build-up, there's a goal and assist there. So if you don't like Bukayo Saka, you can look at Granit Xhaka.
Okay, the next player, you mentioned Mitrovic.
Yes, I did mention Mitrovic. So as you all know, Mitrovic has stormed into the league. We thought he couldn't do it in the Premier League, but he's proving us right. And that was the last victim I forgot, Leeds United. Yes. They were very poor against Leicester, and I saw them over midweek. I was thinking to myself, this is going to be a very easy game for Mitrovic. So he's at 6.8 million. He's the penalty taker for Fulham. Fulham are very, they are expansive enough. They are going to create chances. We've seen them take it to big teams, give them trouble them. So Mitrovic is always one to watch. Another good guy who from Fulham, if you are also looking for an alternative to Mitrovic, maybe you feel Mitrovic is too expensive, is Andres Pereira. He's one of the cheaper midfielders. Again, he's in that Xhaka mode. He's in the final third. You make things happen. He also takes set pieces. So you might get a free kick goal, an assist from corners, that kind of stuff. So with Fulham, Mitrovic is the main man to look out for. Okay. But then you can look at Andres Pereira as your backup.
All right, final player?
Ivan Toney. So we all know Ivan Toney. And now he's adding free kicks to his game. We know his penalty record. His last 22, he scored them. So if a penalty comes, easy goal, clean goal. And Aston Villa have just sacked their coach. They looked bad before that, and now they are managerless. So there's a lot of lack of confidence. And he's going to be playing against one of the worst centre-backs in the division, in my opinion, in Tyrone Mings. So I expect Tyrone Mings to make a mistake, give Ivan Toney the chance, and get that easy goal. If you're not too keen on Ivan Toney, he's one of the better. He's actually also one of the best through ball players in the Premier League. Is an underrated aspect of his game, and usually his favorite target is Brian Mbeumo. So if you're not sure about Ivan Toney, you don't take the risk. Try Brian Mbeumo. He makes great runs in behind. And we all know how Brentford are going to play. There's going to be a lot of crosses, a lot of balls into the box. And Ivan Toney and Mbeumo will try and be in the box again at the end of that. So Toney, again, penalty guy. He's scoring free kicks now. He's the main guy to look for. But if you want that guy who's a bit underrated, not as many people own, check out Brian Mbeumo. So I've given you 2 for the price of 1. So every player, I've given you an alternative. Great. And someone who can make things happen for their team.
Okay, great. The Professor, thank you so much. Before we go, let's have a final look at the fixtures. There you have it. Nottingham Forest and Liverpool, starters of Everton and Palace continue. Man City and Brighton, that game is at the Etihad. And then at Stamford Bridge is Chelsea v Man United on Saturday evening. And then there's Wolves versus Leicester on Sunday. Villa versus Brentford. Villa have a new manager. My producers are telling me, Steve Bruce. Southampton and Arsenal, that's happening as well. Leeds and Fulham is also happening. And Spurs and Newcastle also happening on Sunday in the afternoon. Monday night, it's between West Ham and Bournemouth. That's at the Olympic Stadium on Monday. All right, that's our Premier League preview show for today. Many thanks for watching. My name is Nathan Kwao, and I had Susu Graham Animan Onubo as my wingman. Many thanks to the team that made it possible. Production, direction, lights, camera, sound, everybody who did makeup, everybody. We appreciate the effort. All the games are live on Citi 97.3 FM. on radio, and then you can also go to citisportsonline.com for all the match reports and all the write-ups associated with the Premier League. We'll catch you next Friday. Have a super weekend. Take care and bye-bye.